Joining me in the studio now is Emre Ersen, who is Associate Professor of International Relations at Marmara University. Emre, many thanks for joining us on TRT World. It's pretty much a given that he is going to win and this fourth term of his is going to happen. What can we expect from his foreign policy this time round if he wins the election? More of the same?
Well, I don't think we have reasons to expect huge changes in Russian foreign policy in Putin's next period, because so far he has actually followed the policy that is so far very against and quite powerful against the West in terms of his rhetoric. So I don't think we should be expecting major breakthroughs in the Russian-Western relations, especially as also indicated by this latest dispute between Russia and the United Kingdom regarding the poisoning of a former Russian spy. And the Western sanctions are also going on, and they also have significant geopolitical differences in Syria, in Crimea, in Ukraine. As a major power in terms of its influence in the diplomatic relations in world politics. Therefore, the Western countries will more or less need the Russian support in order to solve these problems, but also because of the economic links between Russia and many Western countries like Germany.
It does seem that Russia's completely unfazed by the West and whatever pressure they seem to put on him. Is it something that Russia actually wants, this sort of animosity with the West all the time?
Well, that animosity with the West actually plays to the hands of Putin, especially in terms of increasing his popularity at home. So I do believe there is a reason why he keeps this on his agenda all the time. But of course, as I mentioned before, Russia is an important member of the international community as well. It's a permanent member in the United Nations Security Council, for example. So in some issues, especially nuclear issues, for instance, they need to cooperate with Russia as well. So for Russia, there are some advantages of keeping this rhetoric on the agenda, but at the same time, it might be something that Putin does not really want. And in some of his latest speeches regarding foreign policy, he actually gave some messages about this, that he wants to improve the relations with the West, especially in the field of nuclear talks, or also about the cooperation against terrorism. They need each other, but of course, at domestic politics, it's something that works for
It sounds like
Putin.
It's a very clever, deliberate balance that he has going on. Okay, let's talk about the domestic side. He has been in power for a very long time. At the end of the day, people are voting for him. But what are the domestic issues that Putin faces?
Well, I think the most significant domestic issue would be economy, because despite all the achievements in foreign policy and military technology, Russia's economy is actually stagnating and it doesn't really grow much. So it needs desperate reform, and I'm not sure if Putin would be willing to start that reform process, because it will mean a political risk at the same time. And I'm not sure if he would be willing to take that political risk, but without reconstructing the economy, I don't think many of the Russian people who vote for Putin nowadays will be very happy. Of course, they don't have an alternative. That is probably why he's been elected over and over again all this time. But he's also aware of the fact that the economy needs to be reformed. And according to the rumors, he might also replace Prime Minister Medvedev with another figure because of this reason. But I think apart from the economy, his major focus will again be on the foreign policy and Russia's great power status, because this is probably the thing that brings him votes most of the time.
Okay, Emre, good to speak to you. Emre Ersen, Associate Professor of International Relations at Marmara University. Many thanks. The election is taking place against the backdrop of an escalating row between the